Namaste, welcome to our session. We are very happy to present to you this discussion on Mrityu or death and the relevance to Sanatan Dharma as well as to modern science. I am Dr. Anand Venkatraman. I am a neurologist and I will be interviewing Acharya Giriratna Mishra, who is one of the foremost modern scholars on various aspects of Sanatan Dharma, particularly the Tantra Shastra. This is a very important topic because it is relevant to each and every one of us, and also because it has a lot of ambiguity, especially on the modern science front. Now, I am a neurologist, and one of the most important roles for a neurologist is to diagnose death. When a patient has died, when is it okay to take them off life support? And so I have a lot of experience from the medical and scientific side on what it is to die, at least what it is legally and scientifically considered to die. However, I have over the years come to the realization that there is a lot of ambiguity, at least from that end, and that's why I thought this would be a wonderful opportunity to learn from Mishra ji, who has a very authentic and powerful grounding in the Hindu mind sciences and the Tantra Shastra, where I think a lot of useful insights are going to emerge and that will spread throughout the world in the next few years. Today's talk, we will divide it into three broad segments. One will basically be about death. What does modern science and neuroscience think about death? What are the lacunae in that understanding? And then what does Hindu philosophy, Hindu science, what does it say what death is? Then we will move on to the Hindu rituals post-death and the associated concepts of reincarnation, past lives, and what happens when those rituals are not completed appropriately, like what are these concepts of bhoot and pret. And then finally, we will move to a very important application, shall we say, of death and its associations, which is the smashan. As opposed to being a mere place to dispose of the dead body, in Hinduism, a smashan is a very important religious institution. It carries a lot of relevance for our devtas and certain kinds of temples and in Tantra. So through these three segments, we hope to give you a full understanding of what death is, both from the Western side as well as the Hindu side, and hopefully answer all of your questions. I'll hand it over to Mishra ji.
This discussion is all about death only today. And in Sanatan Dharma, death is an illusion. There is nothing which is known as death because we cannot die. Vashansi Jiranani Yathavya means like the way clothes become old and we change them, the same way body is changed by the soul. So this is the basic concept, means even in whatever be the sampradaya, means Dvaita, Dvaita, Bheda, Bhed, whatever, means Shaiva, Vaishnava, Shakta, Saura, Ganapatya, whatever. But this concept you would find everywhere, that death is an illusion. And it's like you are merely changing clothes because Atma cannot die. It is Ajar means it cannot become old, and Amar means it cannot die. So Shaswat means it is eternal. It existed since eternity and it would exist till eternity. There is no end of Atma and there is no beginning of Atma. So Mahamaheshwaracharya Abhinavgupta ji has said, so I would like to first of all quote to him. He says, Uktam Shriman Nishacharya Sangyatre Tevidha Mada Naimitiki Prasiddha Tathanya Paribhashiki Purvatve Pradhanam Syat Tatrantar Bhavaye Tataha Atva Dushabdasya Teyam Niruktir Nodita Chet Kvachit Budhesa Sapyuha Kriyal Lekham Hi Pustake. Means if suppose something is taken up, some topic is taken up, so there can be three meanings of a topic: Naimitiki, then Prasiddha, then Paribhashiki. Naimitiki is main, then Paribhashiki and Prasiddha are secondary. So he says that if suppose something is discussed, so it would not cover everything. Kvachit Swabudhyasa Sapyuha means apply brain, as everything cannot be explained or cannot be written, so here everything cannot be said. So things would go, whatever he would say, whatever I would say, so they would have various aspects together. So in that way we are going on. So jana me dharmam na chame pravrittir, jana me dharmam na chame nivritti, toya swamina hridis sthiten yatha niyuktosmi tatha karomi. So this way we shall start, I think.
Okay, wonderful. So before we go into the depth of the Hindu conception according to various sampradaya, I would like to say, at least from my experience, how death has been diagnosed in the hospital. So in average person's thought, death means, okay, his heart stopped beating, he's no longer breathing. But about 50, 60 years ago, there was a presidential committee on death set up in the US, and there was also a Harvard committee for diagnosing brain death. So they came up with this conception of brain death because they realized that sometimes the brain will die, so the person is gone, but the rest of the body is still alive. And that has been the source from which modern procedures like heart transplant, lung transplant, and all of that have become a possibility. It's very common that somebody comes in with like a really bad brain problems or a car accident, and they are diagnosed with something called brain death. Subsequently, once that has been declared, they are able to go for organ transplantation and all that, because when the brain dies, it does not mean that everything else in your body has died. Now, even further, people are trying to refine this into a conception called brain stem death, meaning even within the brain, there are different structures and different parts, and there is only a specific area in the back of the brain called the brain stem, which is responsible for maintaining most of what we call life. So they're saying that even if that area alone is dead, whether from a stroke or something, even if the rest of the brain is alive, you can still say the person is dead. So one thing that becomes increasingly clear is that most of these diagnostic attempts are based on how is the body or the patient's responsiveness to external stimuli. And at some point when you have said that the responsiveness is not coming, and you have done a few tests which check for activity in a particular part of the brain, then you feel comfortable saying that this person is dead. But when you really dig down to the depth of it philosophically, you realize that these definitions of death, brainstem death, these are primarily legal and functional definitions. They are created for a purpose, and the purpose is deciding when it is okay to withdraw, like a breathing machine, decide when it's okay to take out the heart. But it doesn't really give you a very clear scientific answer as to why is this particular body dead and why is that one not dead. For example, if you say brain death means like there is no activity in the brain, in deep anesthesia, there may be equally very minimal activity in the brain, but that's not considered death. If somebody is put into really cold storage in frozen condition under like snow, for example, they can approach a state where there's very little activity, but they're again not dead. So you start thinking further along these lines, and then you start recognizing that to a significant extent, when you talk about brain death and other kinds of death, you're essentially talking about the irreversible loss of what you call the person. Matlab, we immediately think that there is a human being or something occupying that body, and once the structures that are required for that person are no longer existent, we say death has occurred. So death, more than being a molecular or kind of microscope kind of thing, there is something also at a psychosocial level ultimately that drives the understanding of what it means to die. So you may even say that, well, maybe stopping of breathing is considered death, but there are now machines that can put the person's blood into a separate chamber and oxygenate it outside. So even if you're no longer breathing, you are still not dead. So the point is, even though some might superficially say ending of pran is death, that pran is not directly the same as your breathing movement. So jab Hindu side mein somebody says pran chali jati hai, that is death, that is a very different subtle kind of energy that they're talking about, not these external gross movements of the body or the beating of the heart and all that. Once we get closer to understanding this conception of death, that will raise a whole lot of other questions. So before I go further, I would like to ask Mishra ji, in the Hindu side, what would an acharya, or especially from Tantra sides, say how one should define death?
I shall say that in Sanatan Dharma, what you have mentioned correctly, that prana. So, if you see, before going to the procedure of death, which is known as Utkranti,
Okay.
that procedure of death is Utkranti, phenomenal procedure.
Yeah.
Means it's a verb.
Huh.
Means person is alive, he is about to die, and then he dies. So from about to die and then dies.
Okay.
So in that window, whatever happens, that is known as Utkranti.
Okay.
So it is said that the pranana starts leaving the body.
Okay.
Okay. So it says that it starts leaving marmasthan, means vital points. What you said, that stem. So prana, Sanatan Dharma says that pranana or prana, the specific prana, it is not like prana, apan, vyanudan. That pranana is one which controls all these five.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So that pranana, when circulates in body, it is house of anta, means mana, buddhi, and ahamkar. So when pranana comes in body, then only our ego develops. Self-identity develops. Means I am Giriratna Mishra. I am able to recognize this thing, this consciousness. Brain is an apparatus.
Yes.
Brain is not consciousness.
No.
Few times, Professor Roger Penrose is doing some research, and he has been awarded with Nobel Prize also. He says there are micro tumblers in the brain, something like that.
Tubules,
but okay, but this is quite raw theory.
Yes.
Okay, because first of all, microtubulus means what? Neurons? No. Consciousness is something which exists as an energy in the body.
Yes.
And that pranana, that breath, that pranana which operates all kind of 5 or 10 breaths,
Yes.
controls that, and it is house of that.
Yes.
So man, buddhi, and ahankar means man, your thought process, buddhi means your consciousness only, ahankar means your ego, means your identity. I would say in raw layman language, it's an identity of it's identity of a person. So what it says, that starts leaving from point to point. So 8 points are there, and when it starts leaving, it happens at such a fast pace that it generates a lot of pain in body.
Okay.
That sometimes eyes would come out. Means you would see that person who is dying, you would see that his eyes are out. Cough would obstruct. Because see, Vata, Pitta, and Kapha, Tridosh, Ayurveda is based on these three. Means if 3 are balanced, you are healthy.
Yes.
Vata, Pitta, and Kapha, 3 are balanced, then you are healthy.
Yes.
So the thing is, Vata and Kapha play together.
Okay.
Vata is high.
Okay.
Okay. So and with that Vata, Pran wants to leave the body, because that's why we say Pran prakheru ud gaye.
Okay.
Pran chale gaye.
Okay.
This is the main concept, because when Pran would leave, Atma will leave the body. When Pran would leave, Atma would leave the body. So it starts leaving the crucial points, and 8 organs, means chakras. Hai na? They would start that prana energy, that pranana would start disconnecting itself from chakras. So these vital chakra points are the source of energy by which body is operating. It could be understood very easily. Our stomach is working. I just had my lunch.
Yes.
Heart is also working.
Yes.
But how many times in a day maybe think about our organs are working, and we go to doctor, and doctor would tell it is working properly. Those reports, we do not have any. Otherwise, in this body there are hundreds of organs.
Yes.
Small and big organ, right from cell up to heart and brain, every single organ, and they continuously work.
Yes.
That all are put into pranana.
Yes.
Pranana starts leaving, and then the person dies. And now why it happens, that also is very important. It's an important. So it is said that Adva Samasta Eva Pratishtha means that I would give a precise concept of Sanatan Dharma, and it's of minute I do not bother, because what we have thought, I am telling that Samvid Shakti, or means Chitirupeena kritasnavetat vyapyasita jagat namastasai 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 namo namah. Whatever exists in this world is that Shakti only. Matriklipte hi devasya tatra tatra vapushyalam means Parameshwari Shakti of Parameshwar only has appeared as this world. Okay? And she is every single object. Me, you, even is this table. This table also has consciousness. Zero consciousness. Zero consciousness is also consciousness.
Okay.
Zero is some value. It is not -1. Because zero is some value. Zero is value. It has zero consciousness. I have some amount of consciousness. Parmeshwar has perfect one consciousness. Perfect consciousness. Full chiti swarup. So that consciousness, when child comes in the stomach of his mother. Okay. So first of all, that consciousness appears as Shunya Pramata, means it is said that Chiti only becomes Chitirev Chetara Padavruda Chaitya Sankochini Chittam. That Chiti Shakti only becomes Chit.
Okay.
So Chiti Shakti is all pervasive.
Okay.
Chit is because who are you, or you say who I am. If you ask me who I am Giriratna Mishra, I belong to this place and this is my qualification, I do this. Okay. So that limited consciousness is Chit.
Okay.
So she turns in that form, Shunya Pramata, and then she enters as a Pranana Shakti in body.
Okay. Okay.
She appears as Pranana Shakti in body.
Okay.
And then after that, your body starts developing. So even in science also, you would be better to explain this thing or analyze, calibrate this thing on your scientific bench. That first, in initial few weeks, only heartbeat comes.
Yes.
In fetus.
Yes.
Initial few weeks, only heartbeat comes in fetus.
Yes.
And then organs start developing.
Yes.
If heartbeat would not come, doctors will have to take some measures.
Yes.
To correct.
Yes.
Or either remove fetus.
Yes.
You know that I'm not going to in that detail because that is not our topic. So when she appears as Prana, so that is why it is said that there are counted breaths of every single person. How many days he would be, how many days he would live. Because Samvid Shakti only has appeared in this form. So as she is Pranana Shakti, until the time Pranana Shakti would be there in the body, Prana, Vyana, Pan, Saman, Udan, and other life forces, kind of vital breaths would be there in the body. So by the time when it would stop, Yamadut would come and then they would take away. Yesterday I saw a video and I sent to him also. It's on Facebook. And I saw in that video that a man was standing at his workplace. All of a sudden he started fighting with someone in the air. And suddenly he collapsed and died.
Yes.
That is recording. I do not know. I cannot authenticate whether it was a reel or something, whatever, or whether it was true video. But so when the Yamadut means when that time would come, Yamadut would come and then it would start seizing your body.
Okay.
Operation, it is said like that Kalpash. Kalpash means your time is over.
Yes.
Kalpash is nothing but your time is over. So when time would cease, Pranachar. So it is said that a healthy person takes 21,600 breaths in a day. So what yogis do who live for thousands of years, they control their breath. And there is technique. So first of all, Samvit Chakrodaya is there. Samvit Chakrodaya, after Samvit Chakrodaya, your Varnasthan Prakalpan, then Pikika Bandh, then Hans, all that. And experts can control this to up to 500, 600, 800,000 also in a day.
Okay.
And that way they live for thousands of years.
Oh, okay.
Because count of breath is calculated. And there is one more thing that is very simple thing. Everyone can test immediately. Just concentrate on your spinal cord. Your breath would stop. Immediately stop. This is Shambhavopaya.
Oh, okay.
This is Shambhavopaya. So at the state of Samadhi, your breath would stop.
Okay.
And until that time, so that is why in Trik Darshan it is mentioned that if suppose you want Siddhi, you concentrate on your breath. That is the most important technique.
Okay.
Everything is okay, means you can do, you cannot do, means mantra, today I will do mantra. But concentrate on your breath.
Okay.
Then there is technique also. Don't do like that, otherwise it can give you cardiac arrest. So technique is there. It is said that from here to here, but there are techniques. it is by gurus that manner.
Okay.
So there is this purpose.
Okay.
So as pranana shakti is there, that pranana shakti, when that would exist in the body for the specific count, till that time.
Very interesting viewpoint, because this conception of vitalism and that there is a life force in the body, but at the same time that leaves modern medicine and science unable to explain certain things. For example, we know that alive, a body is, I mean, whatever, organ is alive, but what is it when you put like 4 cells in a petri dish? They are not alive as a unit. But on the other hand, when the sperm meets ovum and then it starts dividing, the same 4 cells may be there, but that is considered one unit. So there is something which binds these multiple disparate organs, organ cells into a unity. And that unity seems to be connected with what is called being alive. And when death happens, it is like, even though in the beginning of the talk I said death to some extent in the Western system is a legal and kind of technical fiction, still there is some connection to reality, because when that brain death happens, for example, the body does start to break down over time.
Correct.
Because there is nothing left to synchronize everything and unify it into one whole. So like, bacteria, protozoa, everything is a single cell organism. They can live by themselves. But for some reason, when that brain dies, everything in your body breaks down and dies. So there is something going on which is beyond what the average understanding given to us by modern science and neurology can get at. And this also connects basically the opposite of what it is to die is what is it to be alive, and what is it to be alive as something, Like at one level you could say everything is alive, everything is conscious, but there is also this smaller level, like Mishraji was saying, when the chitti becomes a chit, like the universal consciousness concentrates itself into a
limited
single, same way the universal life, perhaps we can say, concentrates itself into a unit, perhaps at the time of the conception, and forms a organism. And it is that limitedness which dies at the time of death. And so this discussion that we are having is primarily about this limited organism and consciousness that starts, and the limited one which ends at the time of death. And Mishraji, that actually brings me to another question I had. Is there a difference between what is it to be alive and what is it to be conscious? Or are they the same thing?
Yes. Person, see, alive is a wide word.
Okay.
Okay, person in samadhi also is alive. But at that time, his breath forces are stopped. As I said, you concentrate on spinal cord immediately. Kumbhak ho jayega.
Okay.
Means your breath would stop. Hai na? So you are alive. But at that time, and not only that, your mind would also become fixed. When you concentrate on spinal cord and breath, when the breath would stop, mind would also stop doing
Vritti.
Yes, vritti, that's correct. Uchchar, that would stop.
That is a line in Yoga Vasishtha. They said
that's correct.
Chitta vritti stops.
Yes.
I mean, manas and breath.
That's why Yoga Chitta vritti nirodha. So how it has to be done? So pranayam, pratyahar, dhyan, dharana, samadhi.
Yes.
So pranayam, by pranayam you would start practicing kumbhak, and by dhyan, dharana, it would kumbhak period would become wide, expand, and then at samadhi level there would be no Swami Ramakrishna Paramhans. Dr. Sarkar was there. He came to diagnose him. At the same time, when Dr. Saab was there, Ramakrishna Paramhans went into samadhi.
Okay.
When he tested, he found that his heart has stopped working.
Okay.
Means breath, I shall say breath has stopped working.
Okay.
So he said it's magic, miracle. It cannot happen, and it is something beyond science.
Okay.
And then automatically he came back, means he regained his consciousness. So sampragyat, and then various categories of samadhi are there.
Okay.
So that is the thing.
So that is consciousness. So you're saying consciousness and life are different.
But in that case also, when your verbal Oh, so worldly consciousness would stop, but global consciousness, that universal chiti,
Wow,
that you would pervade in that state.
Ha.
So it is said that it is indriyatit, like in Kena Upanishad.
Ha, ha.
That cannot be realized by this body.
Okay. So the
Because these
universal.
organs, these organs, senses of organs of our body cannot experience that.
Okay. Okay. So universal consciousness is there in everything, including table.
Everything, every single aspect.
But there's limited consciousness is there in us, but not in table.
Like table has zero consciousness. It is its consciousness.
Minimal,
Zero, minimal. For us, for me, it is some limited consciousness, whatever is there in me.
But plant also has.
Every single object has consciousness, and even recently some research has been done, and it is said that the world is nothing but consciousness. And scientific research has happened.
That's definitely.
Even Professor Leonardo Susskind is there. He is working. He rebutted the theories of Stephen Hawking.
Okay.
He also said the same thing. I have purchased few of his books.
Okay.
And whatever he says that there are images. These are images, like what Pratyabhigya Darshan says.
Yes.
What is image?
Yes. Yes. Okay.
So that such a thing also, he said, I saw that in some documentary film on Discovery or maybe National Geography. But then I purchased his books also.
Okay.
I sent a video of him to you.
Leonard Susskind, yes, I remember you had sent it. Yes.
Related to his concept on consciousness. The word is conscious, something like that.
Yes.
So, and same thing is said in Durga Saptashati Chiti Rupena Kritasna Vetat Vyapya Sthita Jagat.
Yes.
Namastasai, 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 Namo Namah.
Yes, absolutely. I think there is a very vivid debate going on these days on this particular topic. The old way of doing science was generally to ignore consciousness almost. But gradually there have been more and more attempts to study it in further detail. People are now saying, maybe like some scientists are also trying to say maybe the whole world is actually just consciousness. Other people are opposing them. But as you say, there is definitely a movement towards that direction.
It's like initially they used to say that atom is like a core. It has some test was done in which spectrum was focused on a ball and then it distracted. So said it is nucleus something. Then they continuously did research and then they reached to level of quantum.
Yes.
So they are in the initial state.
Yes. When it comes to consciousness.
And I tell you one thing, they can never realize universal consciousness using any apparatus.
Yes. Cannot done through machine.
Any machine.
Only through this machine.
No. In this machine also your soul can experience that.
Yes.
But your machine cannot explain that.
Okay.
Because Indriya means this is not made for that thing.
The senses are not made to experience that.
To explain that.
The senses are made for outside. Yes. Okay.
Outer world.
Excellent. So Mishraji, then let us go on to, in the Hindu system, what does it, like what are the steps of death? Like what happens when a organism is about to die or when a human being is about to die? How does it feel like to them?
Actually in Hindu Dharma it is said that death is of 100 types.
Okay.
100 ways one can die. So
okay.
Then again it is said that in Darshan Shastra it is like Vyatha, Dukham, Bhayam, Lajja, Roga, Shoka, Sathai, Vacha. Means suppose if someone has some pain, sorrow, fear, all these are also known as death. And then death only. Then Gopinath Kaviraj classifies this into two different categories, Kala Mrityu and Akala Mrityu.
Okay.
Kal means when life has completed and Akal Mrityu is something like his life was left. But then he suddenly died.
Okay.
So Paramayu, he was not able to reach to Paramayu.
Okay.
Then I would say, then he says Samashti Mrityu and Vyashti Mrityu means suppose someone died alone.
Okay.
Or suppose some train accident or something bad happened and a lot of people died together. That way also in Bauddha Dharma also death has been divided into Ayukshay, Karmakshay, Ayu and Karmakshay and Upachcheda Mrityu.
Okay.
So Ayukshay means life has completed.
Okay.
Karmakshay means whatever he was supposed to do are done.
Okay.
So then also Ayu and Karma both are exhausted.
Okay.
Ayu and Karmakshay. Okay. Then Upachched Mrityu means untimely death.
Actually, this is a very interesting point. Sorry to interrupt. Ayu and Karma, because they say you are given a life to exhaust your karma from previous. Then also there is you have given a certain amount of prana and ayu. So what is the connection between all of these? Like,
see, you are here because of previous karma.
Yes.
Be them good or bad, some great portion would be there, some good portion. See, God cannot be unjustified because someone has got birth in Syria, Afghanistan, someone has got birth in India.
Yeah.
in very good family, in
Yeah.
rich family. In India also someone has got birth in some slum
Okay.
area and means his life, I do not know what he would get in his life.
Yes.
You know? So all these are because of past karma.
Huh.
Because if suppose if this basic concept is challenged,
Huh.
then God would become unjust
Huh.
and he cannot be unjust.
Okay.
ईश्वर मतलब भेदभाव नहीं कर सकता
हाँ.
है ना. तो ये that is व्यतिरेक व्याप्ति, like another way to look at.
Okay.
So that is one thing. Another thing is that your exhaustion of karma is there, so that you have to do in this life.
Okay. But just because you have exhausted the karma doesn't mean you have to die, because
So then that would such person would become Jivan Mukta as per Hindu Dharma.
okay, but he may still be alive.
He would be alive.
Okay. All right.
Even if your karma is exhausted,
Okay.
like a Jivan Mukta, you would be alive.
Okay.
And like in Abhinavgupta further classifies into detail, karma is there, then raga, so many things are, you have to exhaust so many things.
Okay. And
Because karma is on karma man only.
okay.
Anav and Mayi Mal are also there.
Okay. And ये जो ओजस बोलते हैं, what is that? Like they say कुछ practices से ब्रह्मचारी वगैरह से ओजस increases, and also what is this X factor that you can see? अब जैसे कि sad thing, sometimes you see something like children have died or something, people feel bad because to some extent उनका subconsciously we feel that there is more life in them. Otherwise, like from a scientific perspective, there is no arguing like this, because from a scientific perspective, a small baby as well as a 90-year-old man, they're all alive,
ठीक बात है.
equal. But मतलब at some level, we immediately recognize कि बच्चों में कुछ ज़्यादा एक life force है, which what is that? Do you think?
See, Ojas specifically stands for your vitality,
हाँ.
which you preserve by following celibacy.
Okay.
Okay, so that while following celibacy, that energy in body
Okay.
which does not come out in other way,
Okay.
in another manner, is consumed in your tapobal.
Okay.
है ना? That increases your virile and your indulgence in tap becomes more strong.
Okay.
So that is the thing.
Okay.
Now, it is something which is related to yam and niyam of
Okay.
yoga.
Okay.
है ना? It is moreover related to sadhana path than your death and life.
And death and life. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Understood. Okay. So Mishra, you continue. You were I interrupted you. You were talking about how does it feel when the organism is about to.
So I think we have already. So Utkranti. Utkranti when happens, so in Vayu Purana, then in Garuna Purana, so many Puranas, these things.
You can explain what is Utkranti. I don't think.
Utkranti is a phenomenon of dying.
Okay.
Means person is alive and then about to die and then he dies.
Okay.
So that process from he is about to die and then dies.
Okay.
So that entire process, whatever happens in between, is Utkranti.
The experience of.
Yes. So Yamdand is also known as Utkrantida.
Okay.
Means it gives Utkranti.
Okay.
So when that time ends, means Paramayu or means whatever, because there may be chance of 2-3 deaths, but Paramayu is supreme.
Paramayu. Okay.
Paramayu means beyond that one cannot live.
Okay. Oh.
You know, some mantra vidya, some tantric mantra and procedures are there by which it could be increased.
Okay.
Yes, but it is not the forum to discuss all that, and I am not eligible. I do not know also, I can say. So Paramayu, when Paramayu is completed, I will take the complete Akal Mrityu example only. When the Paramayu, because in Akal Mrityu happens due to accidents, so many reasons can be ailment, whatever, and someone, whatever. So it says that Vat, Pitta and Kapha, there would be Vat, Pitta means Tridosh. What happens means major imbalance between Vat, Pitta and Kapha would happen in the body.
Okay.
This Kapha would be more.
Okay.
And then your air balance would be means breath. You would see that person who is about to die would have deep breaths, means.
Oh, okay.
Something like that.
Okay.
So it is because prana is obstructed.
Okay.
Because prana is directly connected to prana is what? That is clock. That is your body clock. Your breath is your body clock. It's like alarm.
Achha.
Body is like alarm clock. Alarm has been set. At this time alarm would blow and you have to leave. So that prana, when the time comes, because it has to leave at its time. That That pranana has to leave the body at its time. So it starts leaving in a fast pace.
Okay.
In very fast manner. So, and it starts leaving your organs also.
Okay.
Because all the organs are connected together by pranana only.
Yes, yes.
I do not think it's neurons, whatever means. Further details.
There is something else. It is not just neurons.
Because there is something which is operating neurons also.
The neurons are just a channel, you could say.
Because there is something which is operating neurons also.
Yes.
So, in reality, that is your consciousness, that is your chit, chetna, that is your pranana. So it starts leaving, means start disconnecting all the, like suppose you are in hurry and you have to go out of your home, so you start shutting down all the lights.
Since you mentioned there is not neuron, like for example, a fetus before the organs start to form, there is no neuron, but it's still alive.
Yes. So that's what you can explain. So when it starts leaving the body, it starts doing it at very fast pace.
Okay.
And then that causes immense pain. Now there is one more thing which I would like to explain you. Siddha Mahapurush, tapasvis do not face this kind of death.
Okay. Okay.
They do. Gita, it is mentioned that in crores 1 or 2 only, not even 3 or 4. It's about complete realization and Purna Siddhi.
Okay.
By which you could control your breath, everything. I have an example of Sri Swamiji Maharaj Datiya. He was declared dead in some hospital at Mumbai, some big hospital was. So when his body was brought to Mandir, his body was laid down in front of Devi's Mandir. You have this. So after darshan, when he was taken inside garden, and he was, and all those present there saw that there is a hole of matchstick size at Brahmarandra.
Okay.
So that is of yogis, and while going inside operation theatre also he said, maybe I may not come out alive. So you please stay together friendly and follow the sadhana paddhati, which I have mentioned. Devi would stay here for 1,000 years. That's what it was his last message. You all did great service to me, like you treated me like your father. I am very happy with all of you. That all he said before. So means he already intimated. Before going to operation theatre, when he was brought out, he was, you can say, brain dead. Because he, what he did, he contracted not, I shall say, he collected all his consciousness at Brahmarandra only. Dwadashant means 12 angul above Brahmarandra. So he concentrated all that energy there. So body stopped working. So psycho means as per medical science, he was dead.
Yes. Okay.
Because organs have stopped working, brain dead, whatever dead, heart has stopped working, everything. But then when he was brought there back, he did all this means, and even in Tibet also, so many monasteries have yogis who are doing sadhana, and bodies are, means they are in samadhi since hundreds of years.
So what is it that is persisting beyond the death of the body there in that case? Is it
that is Atma, and that is controlled consciousness, that is Chetna, that's prana which has been made a siddh by yoga.
So it is not just this chiti, the universal consciousness, but there is still a limited.
That
is there anyway.
That is pranana shakti only, because the realization of that yogi is of pranana shakti, that chiti only. Normal person who has not realized that cannot do this thing.
But I'm saying, fir bhi, chiti seems completely, there is no like small thing, big thing, no names and all that.
So ador, adiyan, mahato, mahiyan means it is small, subtler than subtle. And bigger than biggest.
Or
yo yatra nahi vishrantatan nabha kusmayate means whatever does not exist in this pranana does not exist at all. So the realization of Siddhi Yogis is of that only. If he is Vaishnava, he will realize in that manner. Saur will, Advaitvadi will realize. That realization could be different.
The specifics may be different.
Specifics could be different.
But ultimate
energy channel is same. Like Devi Bhagavad says that pranana shakti of Krishna is Radha. That's why you will see that Radha is very famous.
हाँ हाँ
Because what when you say Radha, ultimately you are worshipping Pranana Shakti of Krishna.
हाँ, वो खलाडिनी शक्ति बोलते हैं.
Yeah.
हाँ.
In Devi Bhagavad, she is called as Pranana Shakti.
Okay.
Ladini also, because consciousness only will bring in Lad.
हाँ.
Bliss.
हाँ.
Because if you are not conscious, if suppose someone is in coma, you give him 10,000 crores. That is waste for him.
Yes.
Whatever you give him, that is waste. Because Ladini Shakti is the same. Conscious, it's a way of saying.
It's a way of saying. हाँ.
But the energy is same. So you can categorize in two manners, because how the death happens. So for a normal person, as I have mentioned, that Yamdut will come and take them, and then they take the soul to Yamlok.
Okay.
And then Yam says, okay, go and show them Nark.
Okay.
Then they are brought back to this world, and after 13 days, whatever, if rituals are done. Otherwise, Pret. For a Pret. So what is Pret? Bhoot, Pret, Vetal, all are different. Like Rakshas, Danav, Daik, they all are different.
Okay.
So Pret is a soul which is transmigrating. It's in immigration.
Okay.
A passenger in immigration is known as Pret.
Okay.
Left the body, but still bound to the body.
Okay.
It has subtle angushtmat, means of the size of thumb. And it continuously flickers.
Okay.
It continuously flickers.
Okay.
And it cannot be stabilized. So that's why Dashagatra is done.
Okay.
So then another subtle body is gained by him.
Okay.
I will explain that when we will discuss Antim Sanskar.
Okay.
So that Pret is brought back, and if suppose Karmakand is not done, so it is said that Pret would live here in the world only.
Okay.
And then wait till Qayamat.
Okay.
So the concept is that whatever is said elsewhere is also correct. But here in Sanatan Dharma, the study is more wider.
Okay.
You need not to wait till Qayamat.
Okay.
Something can be done.
Okay.
Something can be done. So what can be done? Then Antyeshti Samskar is done.
Okay.
Then Dashagatra, and then Pindadan, etc. So many things are done.
Okay.
Shraddh is done.
Yes.
So by all those procedures, even if suppose someone is sinister, that also can be corrected.
So what are the main things, like if somebody dies, for example, in your family, what are the most important things which, according to Sanatan Dharma, is necessary?
So we'll start discussing on Antim Samskar. Suppose you understood that, okay, he would die.
Okay.
He's about to die. So first of all, Godan shall be done.
Okay.
Krich Chandrayana, so Krich Chandrayana, so person is dying, he cannot do Krich. It's a kind of vrat.
Okay.
So Godan is done. And after that, 10 types of donation are made, are given by him only. Means son, etc. would assist, but he would go. So that is Utkrantya Danani Dash Dadyat Mritasyatu.
Okay.
Go, Bhumi, Til Hiranya, Aj, Vaso, Dhanya Gunanicha, Ropiam, Lavanam Ityahur, Dash Danan Anukramat. Means go means cow. So there are various kind of cows.
Yeah.
Which are Bhu means Bhumi, so even lump of soil also is.
Okay.
People make fun that, okay, Brahmana are so cunning and they have it. So Bhumi means you can give lump of soil also.
Okay.
It's not that you have to
give land.
You have to give plot or some farmland like that. People they give, that is their will. But you can give lump of soil also. Till is till. Sesame. I don't.
Black sesame.
Hiranya means gold. Vastra. Dhanya means food grains. Gud means jaggery. Ropi means silver. And Lavan means salt. These 10 items shall be made, donated by person who is about to die.
Okay.
And when the person dies,
give it to whom? Anybody? Poor people?
No, Brahmana.
Okay, Brahmana.
Achha, now here again, in Manusmriti, like Manusmriti is most talked about scripture nowadays. So it is said that Brahmanas have given all specific. In Manusmriti, it is mentioned that who is eligible Brahman. So one who only teaches Ved and does not do any other work is eligible. Even who teaches warfare, even Dronacharya is an eligible guru.
Oh, okay. So you have to be only Vedic lifestyle.
If you are teaching warfare,
you are not considered.
You are not any kind of business you are doing.
No. Okay.
You are ineligible.
Okay.
Means hundreds of works are mentioned. Every single thing has been, except doing giving education.
Okay.
That too free of cost.
Okay. So sadhana karo and education karo.
You cannot ask for money.
Okay.
To your student.
हाँ.
If you ask, you will become upadhyay.
Oh, अच्छा.
आचार्य नहीं उपाध्याय हो जाएंगे आप.
अच्छा.
So that's what. You cannot ask for fees.
Ah.
If suppose he gives you an apple or mango, it's okay.
Okay.
If he gives you your village, then only 1/6 you can give and rest you have to sell out or donate amongst them only.
Okay.
Because if suppose something is given,
Ah.
so that is for the purpose of common people.
So only such people are eligible to receive the
such
gift.
people only are eligible.
Ah, okay. ठीक है.
So rarest of the rare case nowadays. So after doing prayashit, etc., that body shall be tied on arthi. That is known
Actually, before we get to this, you said this is what the dying person should do
as,
to one before he knows he's going to die.
हाँ.
So you also said before that Kal Mitru Akal Mrityu. So what would you like, for people who are listening, practically normal people, is there something that we can do to increase the chance that we only get a Kal Mrityu and not Akal Mrityu?
Tantra mantra.
Acha, okay.
Mantra there.
Okay, go ahead.
Mahamrityunjay.
Acha, wo sab will give you
Then
more.
later on there are more mantras which I will not tell here in this forum.
Okay, so that Mahamrityunjay, for example, is you do it, that is meant to reduce the chance that you will die in a random.
And then beyond that also some mantras are there.
Okay.
Beyond that also some mantras are there.
Okay. Go ahead, Mr. Then after that you said Antim.
So that shall be body shall be tied on arthi and then it shall be taken to, and then seniors of the family shall proceed first.
Okay.
And when the procession is taken out, first Yam Sukt is recited.
Okay.
And then Ram Nam.
Okay.
That Ram Nam Satya is very. Sri Ram Nam shall be. And when body is taken to a Shmashan, first the child, means elder son or youngest son, is eligible for doing Antim Samskar.
Okay.
So what is that? He shall remove his hairs and put on only 2 clothes. Then he shall also do Prayashchit. And after Prayashchit, etc., Antim Samskar is done and body is burnt from head side.
Okay.
And then Kapal Kriya, when Kapal Kriya means Brahmarandra is open.
Okay. Break the
Brahmarandra. And Dhananjay Vayu leaves. That is last Vayu.
Okay.
Last vital breath in the body is Dhananjay Vayu, which leaves at the time of Kapal Kriya.
Okay. So
it stays till till Kapal Kriya.
Okay. These days there is a lot of moves towards 2 things. One is electric crematorium, and the other is a lot of people don't want to do all these 14 days, and then they do like I gave some donation in some orphanage and instead of doing all the 14 days.
See, Dr. I do not challenge all this because it is something, if I say, then they will say that orthodox something. The fact is that suppose I have to do MBBS, can I do it in 1 year? Some procedure is there.
Yes.
It is said that 10 days his subtle body develops. So on 10th day, Malin Shodashi means 6th Pindadan are given till the time Asthi Visarjan is done. 6th Pindadan is given at the time of Asthi Visarjan. 6 Pindadan are given.
Okay.
And at Pind Pret is not able to capture them. So Pratitishtatam, it is said that it is kept with you.
Okay.
Because he is not able to take that.
Oh, okay.
So mantra also is different.
Okay.
ऐसे निवेदयामि पुष्पम निवेदि गंधम समर्पयामि धूपम समर्पयामि धूपम दर्शन. Not like pratitishtatam. So on 10th day, when Malin Shodashi is done, so Dash Gatra. So Gatra means body part. So 10 body parts are given, and then subtle body of Pret develops.
Okay.
है ना? After Antim Samskar, Kapal Kriya. So 11th day, Madhyam and Uttam Shodashi are done.
Okay.
That is 16 into 32 Pindadan. 16 to 32 Pindadan. And then Sapindi Karan is then on 12th day.
Okay.
So when Sapindi Karan is done, that Pret becomes Pitra. Sapindi means he has conjoined our ancestral family.
Okay.
Past deceased ancestral family.
Okay.
That is Sapindi Karan. So that is the procedure.
So, what is... so there are people who, they say you should go do these Shraddh in Gaya. So does everybody need to do that, or there are specific people based on Jyotish who need to go to do this?
See, I tell you, Gaya Shraddh can be done for everyone. Can be done by everyone. There are various types of Shraddh.
Okay.
If you see, first of all, Terami, so Trayodasha, there is no such concept in scriptures as of. In some traditions you will find, but specific, because it is said that on 13th day in memory of your ancestors you offer you organize some Brahmos, something. Even if you do not have money,
हाँ
you can do it with one Brahmana. And even if Brahmana has told what is eligibility,
हाँ
even if you don't have that much money, also you can offer green grass to a cow.
okay okay
Suppose you live in you are in such an area that you do not have Brahmana, you don't have money, or someone does not have money, so he can feed green grass to a cow.
okay
That is equal.
okay
So Shraddha, if you say, so Shraddha are various kinds. Nitya, Naimittik, Kamya, Tripindi, Jivit Shraddha Paddhati, and Tirth Shraddha. So
Okay.
Tirth Shraddha is like Gaya.
Okay.
So Gaya, it is said that Gayasur, there is story of Gayasur. I will not enter because we shall focus on death only.
हाँ.
So Gayasur was killed, and it is said that okay, if Shraddha is given here, Bhagwan Vishnu Pad Mandir is there. So it is offered directly in the feet of Bhagwan Vishnu. So after that means it is complete. But then also Shri Gurudev says that even after Gaya also Varshik and Ekoddish etc. shall be done.
Okay. After that also every year you do your
it shall be given to Pita.
हाँ.
है ना? So Nitya Shraddha is daily after means Sandhya Tarpan Nitya Shraddha shall be done.
Oh.
So it is said that sannyasi shall not see that. So when Adi Shankaracharya reached to the house of Mandan Mishra, he was giving Pindadan. And he became angry.
Oh.
Swata Pramanam Partha Pramanam Shukangana Yatra Giro Gedanti. Shishyopi Shishya Bhav Gimana Bhavitasya Mandan Mishra se Dhama. When Kumaril Adi Shankaracharya said, how I will recognize Mandan Mishra? So he said, even parrot there would speak in Sanskrit. That is the house of Mandan Mishra. So when he saw Adi Shankaracharya, he became angry. Then because he was Karmakandi, he was Mimamsak. And Shankaracharya was Vedanti. So debate happened, all that. So then Naimittik Shraddha means Ekoddish etc. means Varshik Shraddha in Pitar Paksha. Kam means if suppose you have some desire and you want your ancestors to fulfill that. So that Kam Shraddha is done. Tripindi is done for those sinisters who took birth in family and have become troublesome ghost.
Okay.
है ना?
Tripindi मतलब
there are 3 Pindadan.
Okay.
है ना? Tripindi is done. So those who have those ancestors of your family who are not of good nature.
Okay.
And creating troubles for Devta Anugraha gives you success in various ways, but Pitar Puja gives you success in terms of family.
So it is through the Pitra related rituals and worship.
Nowadays, I will tell you one thing. Sandhya Gayatri log ho gaye Sanatan Dharma specifically. So you will see that earlier 6-7, your father might have 6-7 brothers, 8 brothers.
Yes.
My father was 7 brothers.
Yes, my father.
7 brothers and sisters. All of them were well settled.
Yes, mine also. My father also.
But nowadays, what happened? 1 or 2 child are there. They are also not happy.
Yes, very true. Everywhere you see.
है ना? Either they are not studying properly. If they studied, either child would not happen, marriage would not happen. Somehow marriage happened, child are progeny problems. If child happens, he would not study. He studied, he will not get married. Job, after job, marriage and dispute in marriage. So what is that? That is Pitar Dosh.
Okay.
That is Pitar Dosh.
Okay.
And one thing more I would tell, Afghanistan, Pakistan and Bangladesh, all the natives of this region are actually Hindu. So they are cursed by rishis and pitars. That's why the people of these areas are not successful. They will never be successful. Because आर्यावर्त में यही है. भरतखंड आर्यावर्त में यही चलना है.
Because वो कर्स इसलिए क्योंकि मतलब
उन्होंने you are not propitiating them. They are waiting. You are not doing that.
You are
for this region, this is the
you are deviating from.
That's why they are not. See Afghanistan, what is happening? Pakistan, what is happening?
That's true. Yeah.
That's a fact.
Yeah.
So, Jivit Shratapati, suppose you find that someone finds that his children are not good enough and they would not give him Shraddha, etc. So, one can do Shraddha on his own. That is Jivit Shratapati. Tirth Shraddha then.
One of the interesting things that I was thinking about when it comes to the question of death is मतलब अगर आप मेरे सामने आते हैं तो if somebody asked कि where is Mishra ji, to me if I was searching for Mishra ji through telescope, microscope, ऐसे तो कभी दिखेगा नहीं.
ठीक बात है.
So when I thought about it, that Mishra ji as an entity exists to me and actually in my mental processes. Because आप जो physical atoms, molecules वगैरह हैं, I am projecting that Mishra ji का concept onto you. So similarly, could it be that ये जो पितृ वगैरह कभी when we talk about, like I have पितृ के 3 generations we do.
Yes.
But I have never met my 3rd generation's grandfather. But maybe his effect is felt through my grandfather and then my father, through him.
That is genetical.
Genetical and personality wise also.
Personality wise also, DNA genetical.
So that's why it also matters that you do these rituals for that generation, even though you personally, physically, you would have never interacted with
never
such
interacted
people.
then also.
And when you said you don't do these,
there is a claim made by Charvak, if suppose giving food to a crow will feed, then something like that, I will stand on my terrace and I will offer the food to God, let him. It is not like that. When mantras are recited, the energy of food goes.
Yes, it is not the physical food, so don't confuse the two.
That energy would go to them. When I say Gandham Shamarpayami Pushpam Dhupam, so it is not that Vigraha is accepting all that.
That's true.
That mantra is channelizing the energy. See, if suppose you burn the food, what would be left behind? Few ashes? You burn lump of food, only this much amount of ash would be there.
Yes.
Where the hell entire food went off.
Yes. Yeah.
It was energy. Potential, kinetic became potential, and then into heat, and it left.
Matlab, when you are doing the ritual, the food is also like a symbol, the murti is also a symbol, everything is symbol, so like the symbolic interaction is what...
That mantra is connecting. And how mantra works, so that we have already discussed.
Yes.
Mantra, Matrika, Malini,
like
that we have discussed. So mantra has that energy.
Excellent.
You know?
And you had mentioned ki, like the Pishach, the Pret. So what are these other ones then? Bhoot, Pishach?
Bhoot is ghost, means someone who, even after Kriya Karma, he is not satisfied.
Okay.
Like you are given everything, you say, I am not satisfied.
Okay.
This one. And Vetal is something like zombie.
Okay. Okay.
One thing I would like to quote here, that the way you come to this body, same way you will have to leave.
Okay.
Then only moksha is there. Because pranana entered through Sushumna.
Okay.
First the spinal cord is developed.
Okay.
As I'm asking you, is that true or not, means scientifically?
मतलब एक cord develop होता है, then it like basically there's a layer of cells in the embryo, then it closes.
Yes.
And then the front end develops into brain.
Yes.
And then the nerves are coming out of the back.
So that is, so the pranana, that beating, so through spinal cord it comes, so through that channel only when the pran leaves.
Okay.
It's like Jumanji. The way you have come, the same way if you will not leave. You will be here only. So even not from here, even in Brahma Sutra also, in Chandogya Upanishad, means thousands of years, we have this concept.
Okay.
In Brahma Sutra, in Phaladhyaya, Chaturtha Pad, there is a sutra which says this thing, that you would leave the body, you would attain moksha only when the tadokokra jwalanam tat prakashit dwaro vidya samarthyat tat shesh gatyanu smriti yoga chahardanu grihita shatadhikaya, means 101st, from 101st artery. That is indicating Sushumna only.
Okay.
And it says Rashmi Anusari, it follows the light.
Okay.
That is enlightened at that time.
Okay.
And then Prana leaves body through that, and if suppose it's Dakshina, Uttarayan, it will directly go to Brahmalok, Dakshinayan, it will wait till Uttarayan, and then it will go to Brahmalok, something like that.
Okay.
These concepts are given. Then Dhumra Marg, for Pitar, means normal sinisters, Dhumrayan is there, means that is Pitaryan, and Devyan is there.
Okay.
So these are Upanishadic concepts.
Okay.
How your pran leaves the body.
And in terms of how it enters, there is also some conception I read in some book that even when the subtle body is formed, the Sukshma Sharir jab banta hai, like it starts off initially, early on there is only the lower chakras are ready, and then like over time, only finally after birth, a few years later, the Agnya chakra and all develop. That is true. Even
one more thing is there, a sinister would leave body through anus only.
Yes. You mentioned that, I think, in the past.
Mooladhar.
Okay.
Means you are such a sinister that he was not even able to energize his Mooladhar. Such a sinister.
Okay.
Like, for example, I will give you an example. Few people may obstruct, but also that yoga concept has went to Sufi. Sufism is not, it is Hinduism only. They only changed the name and all that.
Few concepts.
When say Allahu, you say Allahu, so your breath would stop. This is to channelize the energy. And this Phat Bij, this Bij, this Astra Bij only, this Bij mantra only is recited for Kundalini Jagran.
Okay.
And Raj Yoga.
Okay.
So that has been extracted.
हाँ.
and add it in the name of Allah, Allahu,
Okay.
and you say who, breath would stop.
हाँ.
It is incorrect.
Okay.
Actual beach is different.
Okay.
So to channelize that only.
Okay.
So Sufis also do the same practice.
हाँ.
It is not that it has, because in Islam there are two sects: those who believe and those who do not believe in Sufism.
Yes, a lot of Islamic
People
do not like Sufis.
Do not like. They say only Paigambar was there, and
Yeah.
after that no one was there.
Yes.
So various people opposed to Sufism. Sufism is from here only, yantra, etc. They also make everything. Prayog. That is not their thing. It came from India. It went to Faras, and from Faras because they first went to Faras and then they came to India. So Sufism adopted all those things.
And that is why even today the same people who are interested in a lot of Buddhist and Indian Hindu culture, like they also find similar things of interest in Sufi culture. So you were saying the sinister person, they will exit through that. So they are the ones who become Bhoot and Pisach and all that?
Yes.
Okay.
Mostly they only become, because they are unsatisfied. First of all, they go to Narak, or maybe as per their karma they have to spend, because there are three kind of pap: Vachik, Kaik and Mansik.
Okay.
If you have done mental sin, then after Narak you will come and take birth in different way. Then Vachik, then you will become tree.
Okay.
And then if suppose you have Kaik pap, means by acts you did something wrong, then you will become bird, etc. After propitiating in Nark.
Okay. So these kind of abnormal entities, how do they to get rid of them is essentially just other protocols involved.
Yes.
Okay. And based on these things, the one thing we hadn't discussed is modern science mein, like now there is a very hot topic of near death experience. Ki matlab people are about to die, but then they come back.
Yes.
And then they report that it felt like I was a bright light, and then I felt like I was going through a tunnel.
Yes.
So is this anything connected to
See, it is mentioned here also in our Shastras also that before death, the soul sees all the lokas, everything.
Okay.
And because they become bedazzled, but they cannot explain, they become awestruck. They cannot speak.
Okay.
Because that is entirely different experience.
Okay.
Even it is said that they see their past karma also.
Okay.
Before death.
Okay.
So they would hang in space, and they will look at their body. They will see their family members crying, but they cannot assimilate what they are saying, because their senses of organs are removed.
Okay.
So voice would not be clear.
Okay. So their senses are lost because the organs are in the body.
Sthul they are in Sukshma Sharir, then Karana Sharir, like that.
So Sukshma Sharir mein they have like emotions?
Emotions are there. Emotions would be only those who are Siddha Purushas would leave body without emotion is samskar.
Okay.
Emotion is samskar. If you have some previous karma, then emotions would be there.
Okay.
If suppose emotion is not there, one is going on the path of hell, he would be snakes would bite him. Lion, tiger would eat his body, etc. So many things. So if emotion are not there, how he will feel torture?
Okay, so he'll feel the negativity, but he won't have the
even if suppose someone has various virtues and he goes to Swarga. So there are enjoyments. So emotion is not there, then how he would enjoy?
Okay.
That Sukshma Sharir would have that thing.
Okay.
And Siddha Purush only would be free from all these bondages. And they have Jagadanand. 6 levels of Anand are there. So Jagadanand state would be there. Jayanti Jagadanand Vipakshikshapanaksamaha.
So ye jab state, once you have reached of the Sukshma Sharir, then how is the procedure of the rebirth?
It happens only after your Swarg, etc. is decided and you spend time there.
Okay.
Then suppose Mansik, Kaik and Vachik. Pap, as per that. Suppose you told someone, I will kill you.
Okay.
So for that means whatever sin, and then such person will take birth as this thing.
Or at what stage in, like for example, conception agar aaj ho gaya, so is that rebirth, wo subtle body has attached itself already, or it's going to happen at maybe 3-4 months down the line after the conception has happened?
See, prana prapti hogi है ना,
प्राण प्राप्ति अगर इनिशियल टाइम से ही हो गया, बट व्हेन डज दिस पर्सनालिटी पास्ट लाइफ से आके न्यू लाइफ में जब कनेक्शन,
एज एंड व्हेन ईगो वुड डेवलप इन द बॉडी,
ओके,
सोल वुड एंटर,
so that is at that time when the ego is starting to develop. कुछ कहीं लिखा है कि मतलब इतने months के,
yeah, Abhinav Gupta has written a lot in 28th chapter
okay
of Tantralok.
Okay,
even 15 in various chapters he has discussed all this in detail,
okay,
in various ways.
So but it is not immediately at the time of the conception.
No, not at the after prana, because one would die when prana would leave body, pranana would leave body, then soul would leave. So first vehicle would come, then atma would come.
So there is layers and layers, stepwise. It is not like
no,
because it is relevant, because
that's why we say कि प्राण पखेरु उड़ गए, मीन्स प्राण नहीं रहे, प्राण चले गए,
ओके,
प्राण त्याग दिए, बिकॉज डेथ इज बॉडी इज ऑपरेशनल एज पर प्राणना. प्राणना इट नॉट ओनली मीन्स दैट योर ब्रेथ,
ओके,
that is consciousness. Pranana is consciousness.
The conscious vital.
And there is one more thing which I would like to explain you, because it is Kali Yuga going on, and everyone is, even I am sinister, everyone is kaik, vachik, mansik, everyone is doing all that. So how to get it off? So there are two ways.
Okay.
Either you are in abode of a Siddha Guru, so he will make you do prayachit.
Abode matlab in his ashram.
Ashray. Not only in ashram, but you are taking his shelter and he is guiding you. That is so that way.
Okay.
Another way is, if suppose someone has done some crime and he faces legal procedure and goes through sentences, all that. That way also he will be sin free.
Okay.
So there is example when Bali was killed, Bhagwan Ram said, okay, now you are free from your sins.
Okay.
Because his Ikshvaku is lord of entire earth and he is representative of Maharaj Bharat.
Okay.
The who is from Uttaradhikari of Maharaj Ikshvaku. So as I have killed you, as a representative of Maharaj Bharat, you are free of your sins.
Okay.
So if suppose someone faces Rajdand, or not that, then Guru.
Okay.
Then also he is free from sins.
Okay.
So Guru Ratma Batam Shasta, Raja Shasta Duratma Nam.
Okay.
Ih Prachanna Papanam Shasta Vaivasvato Yamaha. So such person does not face the troubles of Yam.
Okay.
And Diksha in itself is very important thing. When Diksha is done, all the sins are slayed.
Okay.
But it's not like you are go to some shivir and camp and take Diksha.
It
shall be traditional.
Abhishek वगैरह होता है.
But simple mantra also, something like that. So then that also shall be through some proper procedure, paramparagat. It's not like some camp is organized, thousands of people are sitting, and mantra is spoken, now you start doing mantra. That is because mantra can never be. Mantra is mananat trayate asmat tasmat mantra. It means manan. It has to be recited in man only.
Okay.
Manan se mantra. So that is the thing.
And the question of death and life that we've been discussing, of course, there is a lot of relevance to like current affairs also, na? Because on the one hand, at the beginning of life, there is this question in the medical field of abortion. Ki legality kya hona chahiye? Because that's why I was talking to you about this question of what stage does, like at initial conception stage, the pranana enter.
Abortion is biggest sin in Sanatan Dharma.
Okay.
Biggest sin.
Okay.
There is a specific mantra in Phetkarani Tantra.
Okay.
Which if recited, it can set you free from abortion sin.
Acha.
है ना? There are levels of sin. Killing a woman. That is biggest sin.
Okay.
There is only one mantra by which you can get rid of that.
Okay.
Then abortion is also greater than greatest sin.
Okay.
That is mantra is given Phetkarani Tantra.
Okay.
That is recited, then only you can be free from the sin of abortion.
Okay.
Euthanasia is accepted.
Euthanasia is accepted.
Yes, that is there.
With the consent of the patient.
In Skanda Purana Kashi Khand, if you see, there is a mandir Kashi Karvat in Kashi. I do not know whether it exists as of now or not. So that is the place where if suppose someone is not happy with whatever, so he can go and commit suicide. So
euthanasia or suicide, or both of them are okay?
Self-euthanasia, whatever you can say.
There's another topic of medically assisted euthanasia in the West.
No, that means you can go and commit suicide. Means ichha mrityu, I shall say.
हाँ,
So that euthanasia is translated as ichha mrityu. You want to die, you can die.
that is okay.
That is okay.
लेकिन suicide तो like आपने बोला कि that is not good, isn't it? Like
नहीं. So again, suicide, abortion.
abortion मतलब बच्चा,
हाँ.
but
Suicide is wrong.
suicide is
But
wrong.
then at specific place, if you do it,
Okay.
and you are tired of your
Okay.
life,
हाँ,
someone is tired of his life
हाँ,
and wants to do so. Our great Mughal kings
हाँ.
who worked for prosperity of nations stopped that.
अच्छा.
They selectively stopped so many things. So this
हाँ.
is one of them.
What about medically assisted euthanasia? जैसे कि there are sometimes patients who are in like a bad state, and then in some European countries, as by for example, they say it should be like suppose they have cancer and they have 6 months to live. They say it should be okay for the doctor to inject them with some very severe.
I would say that okay, you go to Kashi Karvat and take that injection.
Okay, so better to do it in that location than.
So location is specified.
Because otherwise, but the doctor के हाथ में भी कुछ problem आएगा. हाँ, ठीक है. Then the other thing, of course, which is very relevant to current affairs, is the question of organ donation.
Mm-hmm.
So, समझ गया, technically body is body. It's not necessarily connected to all these things. So in that case, is it okay?
Organ donation, see, गणेश जी का हुआ था एक तरीके से, we can
हाँ,
say.
we can say.
है ना?
Dadichi.
हाँ, Dadichi donated his bone.
Bones, हाँ.
These are very specific cases.
But is it considered like no problem, you can do it?
Not for everyone. See, बाध्य बाधकता, there is principle of बाध्य बाधकता.
Okay.
Okay, means for example, I tell you, there are various things in which something is allowed, but at specifically some like Tulsi to Ganesh is not allowed.
Yes.
है ना?
Yes.
But otherwise in Vishnu Puja, without Tulsi nothing can happen.
True.
So that is बाध्य बाधकता सिद्धांत.
हाँ.
So specific case specific few things are allowed.
Okay. So this is important because I think.
And in Shalya Chikitsa, plastic surgery, etc. is there, some operations are there. But organ donation, I do not think.
Yeah, in those days it wasn't there.
It wasn't there.
But these days.
Plastic surgery was there in Charak.
Those days nose वगैरह they used to ear.
Because nose was cut.
हाँ.
Then it could be replaced using muscles of thigh, etc.
Yes.
That was there.
So organ donation these days it has become such a big thing because now they have the technology to keep it cold.
So the fact is that okay, if it could be done safely. Because we have seen that Dadichi gave up his bones. Ganesh ji also did. Means his head was replaced. Other examples would also be there if we would look at. Other examples would also be there.
वो एक तो थे ना, मतलब I forget the name, who let the eagle eat his flesh.
King Shivi. Of Ayodhya.
So ऐसे थे. अच्छा, ठीक है. So that's a important question. And then another hot topic these days. There's a lot of research in certain areas of how to extend your life and potentially become immortal. So what would
concept of immortality comes in 2-3 various manners in Sanatan Dharma. Like Kalpanta tak, like so वो है ना, Tripashya Parashuramasya Hanumantasya Vibhishana. There is a shlok. I forgot the shlok. So till the end of Kalp, like Lomash Rishi would be alive. Lomash Rishi end of every single Kalpa means hair of his skin falls.
Okay.
And as of now, some of his knee hairs only have fallen.
Okay.
So when all the hairs of his body would remove, he would die. So different kind of mortality and mortality are there. In Yoga Darshan, there are techniques by which you can attain Sadeh Mukti.
Okay.
Means agility would stop.
Okay.
And as I said, Pran would be controlled and you would not die.
Okay.
But other ways, whatever immortality, to be honest, soul is immortal.
Okay.
That is the most important fact.
Okay.
These are specific techniques which are, like as I said, only 1 or 2 in crores can accomplish. Like Gorakhnath was there.
Yes. So, but nothing on paper is necessarily wrong with trying to extend your life. It is,
yes.
If you want to live a life,
but then there is a procedure.
Yes.
It's not like few people will do Bali, etc. So Bali, etc. The procedure is, it's not for that. Yogic practices are there.
Okay. Okay.
And one shall be that much siddhast.
Okay. I think these are important questions because this falls under the larger question of what we call bioethics. And unfortunately, in the Indian medical community, I think we more or less import the bioethic standards from whatever is there in the West,
Yes,
and we
yes,
just say कि यही हमारा भी ethics है.
Like I will give you very good example. When we say cow is our mother,
हाँ.
people would laugh at. But nowadays, everyone has a dog as family member.
Yeah. So
I live with my dog. Dog is my son, my brother. Something what nonsense means. In Hindu Dharma, dog shall not be kept in the house of householder.
yes, it's supposed to be dirty.
It lives in Shamshan.
हाँ.
It is a vehicle of Bhairav.
Yes.
Smashan Vasi.
Yes.
In householder's house, a dog shall not be there.
हाँ.
But vaguely a concept has come from Europe and people have started keeping
Yes.
a dog in home.
Yes.
As if dog is family member.
Yes.
He is my son, daughter.
But people are ashamed to say same of cow.
Same thing for cow.
Yeah.
Selectiveness means it is blind following.
Yes. And ethics mein, I think there's the same thing is happening. I've seen even where they figure out what is the bioethics guidelines from the West, and then they search in the text ki ek do sentences Hindu text mein mil jaye which will support that, and they just say ki hamara bhi yahi hai. But that is, so it is, I think, important for maybe in the future people to look and find an authentic kind of Hindu opinion.
Cow, there are various, even if when we say cow is mother, we do not keep her in our house.
Haan.
Cow stays in Gaushala.
Haan.
Not in our bedroom.
Yes.
She would not eat in your plate.
Haan.
There are different arrangements for cow. Even if she is mother. She is treated as mother. Calf is treated as son of cow. All that. But then also there is difference because genetical difference is considered.
Okay, so I think Mishra ji, that covers our first and second portions.
Yes.
Let us move to the third section, which is sadhana related topics.
Yes.
On the question of death. तो पहले हम ये बोल देंगे कि in general, in most cultures of the world, death is, I would say, at least in Abrahamic cultures, death is considered somewhat away from religious stuff. Actually, maybe they can do a little bit of religious ceremony at the time of death, but after that, it is not necessarily connected to the religious side. In India, though, we have a very strong practice of smashan related sadhana, related temples like Kali Ghat, Tarapit, smashan related Ujjain Mahakal mein they do smashan the smashan.
Yes.
And then there are devtas like Kali. There are certain devtas which are supposed to be. So what is it that is so? Why was it considered such an important thing?
There is nothing in this world which is example, and one can practice also. Start worshipping this laptop. 1-2 years, it will also be energized. Worship for a period of hundreds of years. You will see that big temples have been built there now. No figurine is there, nothing. No means there is not there, but only just a concept of it is Shiva, Kali. Being worshipped through rituals. That place has become energized. So Ashmashan also is, because everything is God, so Ashmashan also is God. So the sadhana, the main concept of Tantra sadhana is to be clear of Ashtapash.
Okay.
So biggest amongst all of them is Bhai, then the Bhai means fear of death.
Okay.
Biggest Pash is fear of death because everyone has this fear. Suppose I think that, okay, I look after so many things, jump into. So Ashmashan is a place where you can get rid of it, and it falls under Anavopai, Nishatan.
Okay.
It falls under Anavopai. It is very basic.
So, but then you're considered, it is supposed to be very dangerous. Don't go to Shmashan unless you're an expert.
So some mantras are there. First, those mantras are accomplished.
Okay.
Then Shmashan sadhana is done.
Achha.
Procedure is there.
Okay. So procedure is there. But
procedure is there. Like I have some manuscripts of Shmashan sadhana.
Achha.
And Chita is worshipped as Devi.
Chita matlab the funeral ka fire.
Yeah, funeral fire, firing. That is worshipped as Devi Shakti. Okay. Shmashan Kali. So the fear of death.
Hmm.
If you will read the lifetimes of Ramakrishna Paramahansa, you would see that he did everything
Huh.
to get rid of the Ashtapash.
Hmm.
Whatever means you can see. In Kali Sadhana, it is quite explicit.
Huh.
That's why Kali and Tara are said to be in a Shmashan.
Yeah.
Even in other Mahavidyas also, Sadhana, Shmashan Sadhana
Yes,
is there.
yes.
But not up to that extent.
Okay. Even the Shri Kula,
Shrikul also.
वहाँ पे भी स्मशान साधना है.
Baglamukhi Sadhana is there
Okay.
in a Shmashan.
Okay.
There is specific mantra.
And most of these sadhanas are, at least initially, the aim is to address the fear.
It is to be in equilibrium in all the states of mind.
Okay. And then smashan mein those devatas ka
There are
energy
two
is
ways,
there.
Dr. Saab.
Haan.
One is to close the door.
Haan.
Another is to open the door and be everywhere in equal state of mind.
Okay.
So this kind of sadhana is done then.
Okay. And
Normal people do not follow this thing.
okay.
Siddha Purushas would certainly do this.
Okay. And smashan mein those particular devatas ka energy is much more.
Yes.
So it's easier to connect to them and all that.
Mhm.
But smashan mein at the same time, I presume like there is also risk of negative
Yes, so that's why I said some mantras are chanted and some sadhana is done
raksha.
for Raksha.
Okay.
And even during a Smashan sadhana also some specific mantra protection is done, then only sadhana is done.
Okay. And I know at the same time, apart from the smashan mein burning, there are also cases where the dead body shav ko Ganga types water mein chhod dete hain. What is the, like, how come some
Suppose those who are unmarried,
Oh,
not gone through a Yagyopavit,
oh,
kids,
हाँ,
their bodies are submerged.
submerge in water.
So it is Dharma Shastra says that who can be fired, means whose body can be put into fire and who can be submerged. That classification is as per Shastra.
Okay. And उस type के bodies को, I understand there are some traditions जहाँ पे उनको लेके शव साधना करते हैं.
Yes.
So what, like, people use this as a very bad thing कि हिंदू में ये सब करते हैं, etc. etc. There was a BBC article or some BBC show which came on that a few years ago. But what is the logic behind why certain of these things are done?
Every religion has various things.
Yeah.
If suppose I start digging down in Christianity,
हाँ.
there are so many things
Yeah.
which happen there.
Yeah.
Holy Grail Trinity, so many things are there. I do not want to dig into sorcery, what all they do.
हाँ. But even some Hindu also, like one will say, you know, that is Hindu bad things to leave behind. Now we will do this new Hinduism,
Yes.
जहाँ पे ये सब भूल जाएंगे. But is that necessary? Like, is it something that does not have any backing, or is it meaningless that we should leave
No,
it?
no, it's not like meaningless. See, Smashan Sadhana, Shav Sadhana is there. Shav Sadhana is specific because, see, this forum is not for
Okay.
discussion of Shav Sadhana.
Okay.
Somewhere else we have already discussed this.
हाँ.
The only thing is that Shav in itself has been a channel
Okay.
of that great energy.
Okay.
That great energy lived in that
Okay. So that's the, it's like a yantra.
yantra.
हाँ. And similarly, like, there is a very common, like, Ayurveda के बारे में journals वगैरह पढ़ेंगे, like history of medicine in India. People will say Hindus did not know कि there is a mind and brain and all these things, and like everything was written कि heart में है, etc. But then at the same time, you look at all the sadhana, there is a lot of focus on skull. So clearly, skull is what? Skull is the house of the brain.
See, Panchamundi, Trimundi,
हाँ.
and so many asana are there.
So skull
And
का role क्या?
Pratyabhikya darshan,
हाँ.
entire darshan is based on consciousness.
हाँ.
So concept of even pranana, all this, and then chetana is removed from body.
हाँ.
Then body dies, he cannot think, he cannot respond. What is all this?
हाँ. It is all about.
When it is said that it lives in heart, then it means it lives in the center. It's at epicenter.
Yes.
Heart,
Not the physical heart.
Heart specifically does not mean physical heart. In Tantra Marg, heart is genital. We discussed yesterday only.
Yes.
In Tantra Marg, heart, wherever heart is mentioned, it is genital.
Yes.
So, for what purpose and in what essence the word is used, that is important. If you will directly read only the shlok and then literally translate,
you will not
you
understand.
will not understand. It's like some English professor is translating medicine book in Hindi. What you will understand? there are so various Greek words,
हाँ
various other language words.
हाँ.
So what he can translate? He cannot translate.
So skull का role क्या था, मतलब at least throughout the general tradition में, why was there so much skull and not other bones, for example, or
See, the skull is source of that supreme Chetana.
Okay.
You know,
Okay.
that had been the source, because Chetana operated through brain only.
Okay.
You know, that Chetana, that Chiti Shakti operated through brain only.
And they knew that.
And
it was very clear to them.
It was very clear to them.
हाँ
That is why skull is buried in Panchamundi, Trimundi, so many asana are made.
हाँ.
And in that also various precautions are taken.
हाँ.
So that the skull is not occupied by some evil soul
हाँ.
instead of Devta.
हाँ.
And people would think that, okay, I have become Siddh.
हाँ.
Because evil soul would start acting.
हाँ. अच्छा. Okay.
So person would think I have become Siddh.
हाँ.
But it would not be the fact.
Okay.
Fact would be different.
हाँ.
So in Trimundi, Panchmundi, there are various rules.
हाँ.
We'll not enter into.
No. What do you think of, given all this, of these, ये आजकल Halloween का बहुत popularity है? What do you think of, on the one hand, of course, there are so many strict rules about death-related rituals, imagery वगैरह. At the same time, the young generation is very keen on dressing up like skeleton and doing this and that and all that. मतलब, is there anything to worry about, or it's okay, not a big deal?
It's again blind following of West.
But any risk or not really?
See, risk is, what to say, means in Sanatan Dharma it is such as restricted that Pitra and Devata pictures shall not be kept together.
हाँ. I was told that we all used to have like ancestor photo in the house.
People would usually keep the pictures of their parents in mandir only.
Yeah.
It's not correct.
Yeah, you should not do that. Somebody told me. Then after
and
that,
you are dressing up like ghosts, etc. They have their culture, means they have their philosophy.
हाँ.
है ना?
हाँ.
They are doing it. They are waiting till doomsday.
हाँ.
We are not waiting like that.
Yeah, so we should not blindly follow.
Blindly. There shall be some logic if you are doing something. They are doing something good. I am wearing pant and shirt.
हाँ.
I find it comfortable. I am wearing it.
हाँ.
है ना? Some logic shall be there. Something new, because Hinduism has adopted so many things.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's not a problem. But adoption shall be done as per logics.
Okay.
Some logic shall be there.
Okay.
Why to do means just it is okay, but shall not be the part of it shall not become a part of life.
Okay.
That is important.
Okay. And missed mentioning before, जैसे कि most of these the Mahasiddhas and all, like, they are buried, है ना?
It is said that the Mahapurushas stay in the virtual Kalpant.
And that's why they build a temple where they are samadhi.
Samadhi pe.
Okay. So
because they take moksha, so their procedures are different.
So how do you know which are those temples? जहाँ पे, and is there a difference in those temples that we are supposed to behave differently when we go to such temples?
No, not at all.
Well, that is just a regular temple.
Regular temple.
हाँ.
Samadhi pe shivling etc. is established.
Okay. So but just behave like any regular temple.
Same puja. Some connection, cardiac connection is there, because it is Guru Samadhi.
हाँ.
So that way cardiac connection is there.
कौन सा connection?
हार्ट
का. अच्छा.
ना, दिल का संबंध हो जाता है ना.
ओके.
प्रेम का संबंध होता है वहाँ पे, भाव श्रद्धा होती दूसरे प्रकार की.
ओके.
रेस्ट पूजा एक्सेट्रा आर सेम.
ओके. So that way. Okay. I think that more or less concludes all the questions that I had. So, Mishra ji, anything else you would like to add from your perspective?
Actually, as I have mentioned, that mantra shastra has so many things.
Yes.
So, if suppose someone was not blessed to take Diksha at the time of when he was alive.
Okay.
So, for that purpose, solutions are also there.
Okay.
So, there is Prana Haran Diksha. Someone is just about to die ailing.
Okay.
So, his Prana Haran Diksha can be given. So, he would die and then he would attend Shambhav Samavesh or something like that.
Okay.
Then Sadhya Samutkraman Diksha is there.
Okay.
And Prana Haran means someone can be. Sadhya Samutkraman means someone is just about die, and then at that time you can give him mantra and then stotra also, that Brahma Vidya stotra. So suppose someone is ailing, he is about to die, then Brahma Vidya Stotra is recited. Even sinister is there, then he will also attend Shambhav Samavesh.
And ye Diksha are only to be given by a particular guru who knows all.
Who belongs to tradition.
Ah.
Then Mrita Diksha is a Mrita Diksha in this. Suppose someone has already died and he is in some lok, Nark lok, whatever. So his soul, Sukshma Sharir, is invited and is invited in a body made of cow dung. And then there he is given Diksha.
Oh.
Such as the yogi is required.
Okay.
So Mritodhar Diksha means someone is already dead, so soul would not be invited, but then Diksha can be given and then his Uddhar would happen.
Acha.
है ना? Anteshti Diksha, at the time of Anteshti, Shraddha Diksha is also there.
Okay.
है ना? So all these bestow Nirvana, and then Brahma Vidya Stotra is there. In Agam Shastra, which I have mentioned.
Okay.
It was given by Bhutiraj ji to Abhinav Gupta ji.
Okay. Okay.
So Brahma Vidya Stotra has a specific different kind of Panchakshar. And when that Brahma Vidya Stotra is recited, even if it is mentioned that even if someone is sinister, he would attain moksha. So this is there, and then there is a Kalaratri Vidya or Marmakrantini Vidya. It's a kind of mantra in Shastras. If suppose someone wants to die, so he can do that mantra. Means he's Siddha Purush. He thinks that okay, my life is over and I think I shall die. Such a manner. So this mantra is there.
Okay.
So Marmakrantini, so Marma in itself means where Marma is vital points of the body through which Pranavayu would start disconnecting itself. So that disconnection would start after this mantra.
Okay. Okay.
And Nikrantini means disconnection would start.
Okay. If you want to...
It is said that even after 50 recitations work would start.
Oh.
Just 50 recitation work would start.
Okay.
So mantra I am not explaining here. Then there is a mandir in Kashi, Charpati Devi. Charpati Devi, it is Twarita. Twarita is a Nitya, name of Nitya of Tripura Sundari. So there, if suppose someone is ailing on death bed.
Okay.
Someone is ailing on death bed. So for him, if worship is done in this mandir, that person would die.
So actually, this is also another important question, especially in the US and now increasingly in India. There is a lot of movement towards hospice and palliative care. Matlab, especially like patient they have become 6 months to live. They know they're going to die. So what do you think from the Hindu perspective are the important things that should be done for them? Like one of the things that comes to mind is maybe you should be in a place where the family is available nearby so they don't feel alone.
And personally, I suggest that Dan, etc., Godan, etc., Dashdan, etc. shall be done, and then the stotra, etc. shall be recited.
Location wise, is it better to be in certain location?
Everywhere it is okay.
Should they be ideally, if you have...
There are Dur Upaya and Nikat Upaya.
Acha.
Abhinav Gupta talks about. So Dur Upaya means Anav Upaya.
Okay.
All these are Nikat Upaya. Wherever you apply, it will happen. Nikat means everywhere, all pervasive.
Okay.
So wherever.
So yes, Stotra and Dan are the two.
Means, then again, suppose someone is Vaishnava and then he can do Bhagavad, it's whatever. Sadhana. Because if suppose someone is not left here, then why to waste energy in all that?
This is an important thing because I think it is going to become gradually more common because medical science has advanced to a point where you are able to keep people alive to a certain point, and so you're able to prolong the life, but you know that this is going to fail at some point.
Ekdam correct.
ठीक है. Okay, that is all I have, Mishra ji. Anything else that you would like to add?
Nothing. It was great discussing with you.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you to everyone.
The only thing is immortality.
Yes, okay.
Which is left. So immortality, as you have asked. So immortality is to realize that we are not this body.
Yes.
And we are not here to do whatever we are doing.
Yes.
We are here for some different purpose. That is Atma Shuddhi.
Okay.
And that realization only is immortality.
Okay. So that is the better kind of immortality that
yes, that is the most
trying
important.
To live.
Because you will see various Siddha Purushas are there who could have lived for hundreds of thousands of years.
Yes.
But they did not do so because they know that this is just a waste. They are in a lump of waste.
And they can live in a different form.
The work is over, they have left. Even God has left. Bhagwan Ramakrishna have left.
Yes.
If they would have wanted, they would have survived. Hanuman ji is there.
Yes.
Parshuram ji is there.
Yes.
So whereas other rishis are there, Saptarshis are there, they have their duties, they are fulfilling their duties.
Okay.
Otherwise, Ramakrishna did not want, they left the body.
Yes.
If they would have wanted, they would have stayed. Because they know that they are not this body.
Okay.
So this only is the main realization of Hindu Dharma, whatever you are.
Okay.
So that is immortality.
Okay. All right. Very good. Thank you, Mishra ji.
Namaste.
Namaste. Thank you, everybody.